Hello everyone, welcome to Tech channel. We are continuing learning JavaScript using FreeCodeCamp platform by building a role-playing game. So let's directly navigate to where we stopped previously. Previously we stopped here on this challenge 81, and in this challenge is asking us to create a new array of weapons similar to what we did for locations. And weapons variable already is declared here to this empty array, and now is asking us to update this array with 3 objects, and each object will have a key name assigned to it, and also power property. And each object will have 2 properties, name and power. Let's add that following this instruction here. So the first object, as you know how to declare object by using this curly bracket, and first key is called name and assigned to stick, the first key assigned to this stick weapon. And the second property, you need to separate properties by comma. Second property called power, and supposed to be assigned to 5. The value should be 5. So this is the first object. So we can keep this in one line. We can break it also to multi-lines inside the array bracket. So, and we separate each object by adding a comma as we did previously. The second object will have the power name. It will be called danger, or the name property will be assigned to danger, and the value or the power, it will be 13 instead of 5. And add a comma and duplicate this object again to the third one, and the name is going to be this new name, glue hammer, and the power is going to be 50. Fourth one and last one, we need to remove the comma from the last object. Name is going to be called sword instead of glue hammer, and the value of the power is going to be 100 instead of 50. So now check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge 82 now is asking us to add if statement inside this by weapon, and to check where if the gold greater than or equal 30. Let's do that here inside this function. Add if statement, as if you remember previously how to declare if statement, and inside here we need to add the condition to check where the gold greater than or equal 30, and then we need to add a curly bracket here. Check your code. Your code is passed. Congratulations. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to decrease the gold by 30. So assigning the gold variable to a new value, which gold minus 30, that which means the current gold minus 30 assigned to new variable. And now check your code. Is asking us to use the combined assignment. So if you remember the combined assignment, instead of this syntax, we can just remove gold minus 30 and add minus equal 30, which will return the same value, but it's different syntax. It's called combined assignment. We learned this in the previous tutorial. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge, now that the user can access weapon from this array of weapons anytime where have the valid data to the relevant weapon. So to access every time the correct weapon, we can use this current weapon index is starting from 0 index. So when the user buy more golds, then can switch between weapons instead of the default one. So it's asking us to increase this weapon index every time by 1. So every time you buy new gold, will increase the index automatically. That will change the weapon type for you. Let's do that here by assigning this current weapon index. We have it already declared here on the top. Weapon index start from 0. We need to update it every time when we buy a new weapon. So we just increase this by 1, which using the current weapon plus 1. This will update it every time, increases by 1. And you can check your code. Is asking again here to use a combined assignment instead of this syntax, if you remember. So we'll just did that in the previous tutorial, adding plus equal 1, which returns the same value, and this will increase every time by 1. So check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is also reminding us how to add the increment operator. So as we learned in previous tutorials, so for example, let num equal to 5. If we need to increase 5 every time by 1, we can just add num in plus plus, that means increase 5 by 1 becomes 6. And same we need to do here for this current weapon. Instead of this combined syntax, we can use the increment operator. So just add plus plus, which will be same result, still the same result. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge now is asking us to update the gold text and the text itself. So the gold text to be assigned to the gold dot inner text equal gold, and same we need to update the text. This is the full text here in the black area here. So let's just add more space here. You can see the full. So this text is in this area. So instead of gold text to be text dot inner text to this new text here. Add that here. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to declare a new variable using let keyword and assign it to weapons array in this space, this empty space here, and using let keyword before, then the name of the variable called new weapon, and then assign it to weapons. And don't forget to add a semicolon at the end. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to access a relevant object inside this weapons array. So this weapons is an array. If we need to access every time a correct weapons, we can use this current weapon index. If the current weapon index is 0, we'll return the first object inside that array. So, or if 1, it will return the second one. This array of weapons should be declared on the top here, these weapons. So if 0 will return this first object, 1 will return the next, and so on. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge now, these weapons, square bracket and weapon index, this will return an object, and we are interested on the weapon name instead of the full object. So if we need to access a specific property in JavaScript object, as we learned previously, we can use dot notation. So by adding this dot name, then this will return the name of the weapon instead of this full object. Will return only this name here. For this example, it's going to be stick or danger or so on. So now if you check your code, congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge number 90 is asking us to use concatenation. As we learned previously, if we need to concat a string with a variable in JavaScript, we can follow these examples here. And is asking here to update this text, to use this new text instead. So remove this text and add the new one, and then add a plus to concat this new weapon name, and then need to add another plus to add this dot, and then check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. You can submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And by now, this is the end of this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and see you on the very next tutorial.